All right, welcome to this next lesson. We are going to get into how to gain trust using your credentials. Very important. So now, if you make an offer, no matter how incredibly good it may be, you won't attract sales if no one believes you can deliver what you offered. That's because people need to trust you before they will make a purchase from you. And if the purchase is something that appears too good to be true, and they don't know you, they simply won't believe you're telling the truth. Like any relationship, you have to build trust over time by delivering what you promise. So, what can you do for those that have yet to buy and haven't even entered into a commercial relationship with you? Well, you can flash your credentials. Have you ever noticed that when people find out you're a doctor, they automatically assume you are smarter and richer than the average person? That's because your profession gives you credentials to be a person of integrity and a productive member of society. Education is one way that people flash credentials by putting the initials to their degree next to their name, etc. There are certain ways to establish your credentials with your website audience that can be used to get them to trust you more and thus help you make the sale. So, what is the strategy here? The nature of this strategy is to create a tone of authenticity and authority. You want to sound believable, educated, maybe even an expert about a particular topic related to your market niche. When people find someone who they can trust to tell them the truth, exactly like it is, no BS, then they are more easily influenced into following the advice that person gives. You will want to invoke associations that enhance your image as a knowledgeable and credential person and reduce the associations to those things that may, impinge on your good name. LinkedIn is a great place to do this. Both of these aspects are looked at quite closely when a customer is trying to make a decision whether you are steering them in the right direction or just trying to make a fast buck. You will have to pay attention to the language that you use in your copy. It shouldn't contain any outrageous claims or even untruthful exaggerations. You want to highlight the benefits of your product or service, but in a manner that comes off as genuine and non hyped. There are a number of different ways to implement this strategy to help you build your credibility quickly and effectively. However, the strategy is still the same. You want to remove the objections in your customer's mind to the possibility that they are being taken for a ride or influenced in some underhanded way. You do this by seeking to make sure your transactions always have a high degree of integrity from sale to delivery and that you back everything with your good name. So what's the psychological trigger here? This strategy works because we are conditioned to trust those people who have certain authority over us. As children, our parents are invested with the authority, and we're taught to believe everything they say. And more importantly, that they have our good interest at heart. That is where we first learn to trust in authority figures. Later, we learn that the same dynamic extends to our bosses, our spouses, and even people with education or some measure of success in their lives. We assume that if someone has, made it to a certain level in society, that their word tends to carry weight because they're more experienced and, know how to ride the rapids of life. So we may automatically be triggered to respect an authority figure, but that doesn't necessarily mean we automatically trust them. Unless you are a codependent, most people will make other people earn their trust in order to engage a healthy relationship. No one wants to be used or abused by people in authority just because they claim to know better for us. In those instances, we may be triggered, but we can also completely rebel against the idea and dig in our heels and refuse to comply with the direction given. And that's a perfectly healthy reaction to protect the person from being taken advantage of. Similarly, most salespeople may expound on their credentials all day long and even impress their visitors, their clients, leads, but they still have to put their money where their mouth is and act with integrity to gain their trust. If someone hasn't directly interacted with you, then they may have decided to ask someone else whether you delivered what you promised. That's called a referral and is another way credibility is built. So even though you have no direct history with someone, it doesn't mean that you can't create the atmosphere necessary to get people to trust you enough to buy from you. You can do that by paying close attention to the image you project all the time. You have to make sure that it is authentic to the product and service that you promote and sell. That means that if you sell sports gear and you've never picked up a tennis racket in your life or played a tennis sport, you will be completely lacking in credibility unless you get other noted sports figures, right, to become your spokesperson. Then your business has more credibility, even though you personally may not have anything to do with this particular niche yourself. So, authenticity is the name of the game. You will see this becoming more and more important as social networking takes over the internet more and more and more. When people social network, they talk to each other based on friendships they've developed with people they trust. So, the bottom line is when they go out to buy something, they often know at least someone who can give them a good idea or whether your claim is credible and your business is trustworthy. If you scam people, odds are that, in this age of the internet, your business will not last long. People tend to notify and warn people in their circle of friends very quickly in social networking sites and can directly impact your bottom line. So, how to implement this effectively? So, the first thing you want to do is make sure that everything on your site or any copy and advertising is always truthful. No claims that cannot be supported. If you say free delivery, then keep your word and don't sneak in a shipping and handling fee. Next, you will want to keep away from marketing, cliches that give people the impression of snake oil vendors of the past. It's one thing to make a claim that may seem unbelievable, but can be backed by hard facts, and quite another just to splatter outrageous claims all over, your website without trying to justify them. That brings us to the next real thing you need to do to implement this strategy. That is, you need to handle the customer's objections, which might be in their mind as, efficiently and, completely accurately as possible. If one of the objections is the price is too high, then don't try to hide that fact, but justify why it is high in a credible way. If the sales prospect may still have problems believing the claims, which are indeed true, then you need to trot out the authority figures, whether you or someone else. Take, for instance, a product that, let's just say, a medical device of some sort, and it claims to get rid of acne or some such thing like that. Then you will want to be able to back that claim with either a doctor's credentials or clinical trials. Use the types of credentials that our society agrees gives one authority, degrees, awards, and even personal success. If it's an info product that shows how to, say, for instance, make money on the internet, you'd better be able to pull out whatever evidence to show that you are indeed highly successful using those methods, whether it's a bank statement or your annual statement or whatever that case may be. You can build up an image of an expert very quickly. That's because content is so important to drive search engine results. If you know that your market niche is being heavily searched by, surfers, you can start to write multiple articles and submit them, and really create a bigger name for yourself. Many of these, directories allow you to use their resource box that you can put your website address in to bring in traffic from their sites and other sites. This serves a twofold purpose. You become an instant expert on the internet and you drive more people to your website. It's a great way to build credibility. If you still have trouble building some credibility, then think about writing free posts for sites that already have a big audience and a high degree of credibility. By doing so, you gain, more traffic and polish up your online image by associating with noted experts or successful people or bloggers. I agree with this in some form. Mostly, you've got to, the proof has to be in the pudding. You can do the association, success by association, by using, other authority figures. But at the end of the day, it comes down to you. But when we talk about these people in this way, they lend you some of their credibility for contributing maybe to their site. You can also do many versions of this by simply commenting on open blogs with, informational comments that make you look good. Don't forget to add a link to your site to generate more people to your website. If you don't have time for all that, you can simply pay someone to endorse your products as mentioned earlier. You can do this by using celebrity endorsements or simply getting someone in the business with great credibility to write a review of your site or products. Once they give their endorsement, their credibility rubs off on you a bit. I mean, sometimes it's overnight. A limited version of this is to pay people to let you advertise on their site with a link back to your site. They aren't necessarily endorsing you, but the association with their site will, reap a similar effect. It's just kind of a bit watered down. Certain geographical regions might lend more credibility to a product than others. For instance, remember when made in Japan was pretty much junk? Well, when cars started rolling off the Asian assembly lines, the fact that they were imported from Japan finally gave them more credibility, not less, but it took time for the impression of trustworthiness to seep into the culture consciousness. Also, you know that certain places are known for having excellent products, like wine from France and cheese from Wisconsin. If you're selling items that can gain credibility from their place of origin, be sure to mention it. Even your company can gain credibility at times from its own place of business, just like the best publishing houses are known to reside in New York City. One thing to remember is that if you are the expert on your product, then you know what makes them special and such a good deal. All you have to do is be able to convey that to your customers in a genuine and friendly fashion for them to start believing it too. And when the sale is made, don't stop there. Be sure that you pay the same attention to the integrity of the entire sales process so that your customers will know your word means something and you can expect to get, exactly what you promised, or you will make good on it no matter what. That type of customer service will have them coming back over and over and referring all their friends to you too. So let's talk about the timing of this strategy. You'll need to work a little bit to get this strategy going. It should be planned, basically planned for even before you have a anything up and running and selling products. You should start building your professional image immediately through social networking, Facebook, building an expert blog, writing articles, blah, 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 blah. Obviously, your credentials can be added to that with every achievement in your life. Be sure to add multiple profiles that talk about your achievements, all with links back to your website when it goes up. You can use LinkedIn, Pinterest, all these different avenues to do this. Always continue to update your credentials every time you receive some new recognition, award, degree, or have a very successful campaign. The name of the game is to toot your own horn. You should also have an About Me section in all your websites to make sure people know you are trustworthy. Include the information in the copy too. If you are using this strategy to invoke authority and credibility to sell your products, it should be easy to find this information almost immediately if that's the impact you want to make. This is a never-ending process once you start, as your image is being used to sell your product. You'll want to protect it. You need to consistently monitor your affiliates, your customer service reps, your own claims to make sure they're truthful and trustworthy to people. Associate with the wrong crowd for too long, and the reputation can shift just like the tailwinds of a hurricane. So keep at it, and you'll reap a sterling reputation that helps sell your product simply through the virtue of honesty and integrity. One of my biggest sayings that I like to say is it takes a lifetime to build your reputation. And at the end of the day, it takes 20 minutes or less to destroy it. So gain trust through however you can, through testimonials, credentials, however that is, to show your clients that they can know, like, and trust you, and work with you and feel confident that you are going to provide them the best result that you possibly can. All right, that's it for this video. We'll see you on the next lesson.